Hey teens, we're going to take a look at your very first video lesson. It's really simple, just listen to what I say and write down all the underlined stuff. The first thing we're going to take a look at is genre. And it's a very, very basic concept. And it doesn't matter how far along we are in our English journey, we kind of need to start off with the basics at the beginning of the year. The word genre refers to the different forms that literature takes on. So for example, we have the four primary genres of literature. We have fiction, poetry, drama, and nonfiction. Media is the unofficial fifth genre, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Our first genre is fiction. Fiction is a narrative story in which characters, events, or settings have been made up. A few years ago, there was a movie and a book called Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. The idea of one of our former presidents fighting a bunch of vampires, totally not true, and so we can still put that inside the world of fiction. The elements of fiction include plot, setting, characters, and theme, and you can't have a story without any of those pieces. Can you imagine a story without characters? Without a place for them to be? Without plot, without things happening? And theme is one of those things that naturally sort of pops up, even if you didn't mean it to. Every story has a theme. Now the next part of your notes are the three forms of fiction. This is the shape of the text on the page. So there are short stories, and these are focused usually around a single event. You can usually read them in about a sitting. And that's a lot of what we're going to be taking a look at in the beginning of the year here. There are novels, which are longer works of fiction that will take many sittings. They weave together many different events, storylines, and characters. And then there are novellas, which sit somewhere in the middle, longer than a short story, shorter than a novel. And we a lot of times save this term for a story that was originally culled together in parts. So stories used to be published maybe in different pieces of a magazine and then put all together. It's slightly longer than a short story would be. Now we're going to be spending the majority of the beginning of the year on fiction. It doesn't mean we're not going to eventually get to a lot of the others. We have poetry, for example, which is words chosen and arranged to create sounds and meanings. And we don't want to go any more specific than that. I know it sounds a little vague, but poetry can be so many things that we don't want to put it into a tiny box, unless we're writing a poem about a box. Drama is any work that is written to be performed on a stage, and that includes the sound stage. Even right now, I'm technically reading off of a script. Your movies, TV shows, and the like are all scripted and created for our entertainment. But you can also go to a playhouse, a theater, and see something being performed as well, and they all fit into the same genre. And finally, there's nonfiction. Nonfiction is writing that tells about real people, events, and action. This is different from fiction because it's real. Fiction starts with the letter F, that means it's fake. Nonfiction starts with the letter N, which I guess means not fake. If you want to be really creative about it. The two kinds of nonfiction that we will be taking a look at later on in the year, we're going to be taking a look at biography, which uses third-person point of view, meaning it was written from somebody other than the subject of the biography. An autobiography uses first-person point of view, meaning it was actually written by the person who lived through all of the events. And finally, we hit media. And it's everywhere. We understand how it works, I suppose, but you have to remember that it is still a type of communication. It's a large form of communication that's designed to reach large numbers of people. Feature films, the news, television shows, advertisements, and the almighty internet are, of course, types of media. Yeah, that wasn't so bad. Now you can go off and watch PewDiePie. Do a thing. Is that a thing? Anyway, Lombardo out.